All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Today's topic will be on the project clone, milestone clone, and action clone, as well as the milestone loader. We're going to just show how you can better set up your projects and just more time efficient way of cloning from templates or creating or cloning a project from a project record. And so on. So I am Lexi. Many of you know me from the support side of things. I've been with Eprica over a year now, and I'm also handling some of the customer success. Moving ahead on the demo on the agenda today, we're going to do a quick demo of the clone project from the Mission Control console. We're going to navigate to a project that's already existing and use the clone action button on there, as well as from the milestone and action object records, we're going to use the clone action button. I will go into detail as to how to add custom fields to the clone pages. And then we're also going to create a new project and review the milestone loader today. And again, if you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to put them in the chat or Q&A boxes. I do check that pretty often. And we will have some open office hours or open time during the end of the webinar today to go over any questions you might have outside of the topic today. For our objective, we want to be able to just review different ways to duplicate records within Mission Control and minimize setup time when building out projects and programs. And then we're also going to discuss how to navigate to these features within Mission Control, because there's also a couple of different places that you can accomplish these things from. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the demo. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with cloning a project from the Mission Control console, and that would be here. So any projects that you see here will be a project that the template checkbox field is marked true within the project detail. So I don't have too many project templates in here, but later on down the road, we're going to see how to clone a project that is not marked template. All right, so for this one, we're going to name this Mission Control website build. We're going to keep the same project owner, but as you can see here, there's a couple of fields to relate the account, the opportunity. If you have a few programs set up within Mission Control, you can relate to program. And then if you have any reference IDs that you use within Mission Control, you can go ahead and apply that here as well. For this project, we're going to keep it a fixed price project, and then actually bill from the milestone. So once a milestone is complete, then the invoice will be sent out on completion. So I'll show you how I'll do that as well. This project will not be non-billable. We're also not going to allow overtime, since this is going to be a fixed price project. It won't go into any of the calculations, but we're just going to be sure and uncheck that here. You have other fields here in regards to where this project will show up on the scheduler timesheet. You can exclude this project from a program or the daily digest if this is more of a private project. And then you can specify the categories and things like that. I'm not going to require approval on this project since it is fixed price, but I will get into another billing type or billing cycle to set up on another project, the one that we cloned from a project record. Okay. So we're going to set this to manual. And then update the dates. So we're going to start this project on the 1st of November. And based on the actions and milestones that are already set up within this project template, the following dates are going to update. This isn't a large project, so we wouldn't need to run asynchronously. But say, for instance, you have a project with a ton of milestones and actions, checklist items and contributors, things like that. You would want to mark this true so that it can run in the background. And once the project is created, then you can navigate to the project from then. Otherwise, it'll just be loading. We don't have any project rates to consider. We are going to clone the contributors to any actions on this project and then go ahead and start assigning the project to the milestones and things like that to different owners. Instead of using the milestone budget, I'm going to go ahead and put the invoice amount here. Our project budget was 6,000. So each of these milestones would be about 2,000, and we're going to invoice on completion. We're going to keep the action owners here and update any fields as needed. I just remembered here, I set the billing cycle to manual. We actually want to set it to milestone so that the project automation behind the scenes knows that upon completion of the milestones is when we're going to send out an invoice. All right, we're almost done with this project setup here. Ensure our actions are all set up as needed. And we'll go ahead and clone the project. So there you go. We have just cloned from the template. We've updated the project billing information, updated the milestone owners, and this time I didn't put a milestone budget, but say for instance I didn't populate that invoice amount field on the milestone, then that would be based off of the milestone budget. Or you can, if this field isn't populated as well as the invoice amount, then you can also bill on the hour schedule. Okay, so we do have a question here in regards to cloning. And that question is there a way to only clone some of the milestones, or do you have to clone all of them? In the case that you didn't want to clone all of the milestones here, I would recommend creating a new project and then loading in the milestones that you would like to be on the project. So I will show you how to do that in a second after we do the action clone. I also have another question in regards to budget items. Currently, budget items would not be cloned with the project, but we will be having a feature come up soon, excuse me, where the budget items will be cloned with the project. You will have the option to do so. So that's not a current feature, but it is coming. All right, so let me just slow down here and go back. I'm going to go to the Aprika website build and show you how to clone from the button here. It's pretty much the same thing. It'll bring up the same page, but it's a little bit of a different navigation. So you would navigate to the project that you would like to clone. This one doesn't have the template field marked true. It's just a standard project. So for this one, we're going to leave it as is. It is a time and materials project, so it would be based on, the billing would be based on the hours scheduled. I'm going to establish the billing and cost rate here, or keep it from the existing. Define a project color, any anticipated expenses, things like that. And then for the time and materials project, we want to specify a billing cycle This one, excuse me, I'm going to do a fortnightly billing cycle, which is bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. And then with the customer, we're going to have a 30-day payment term. Also going to establish the next billing date. So it's just updating the project from the new start date. And actually, I'm going to set this billing date to the 5th. So we have a few days in there. There are no project rates here. So if you were to use like the manage projects or manage rate button to establish different rates for the project and you want to continue that over, you would check this box here. All right, everything's looking good with this one, so we're just gonna go ahead and clone. I also didn't change the name of this project, but you can update the name as needed. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at updating the field set. So right now I don't have any custom fields on my project object that aren't, so I don't have the project object over here to pull fields from. The field set would automatically include any mission control fields on the project. I will show you how I got to this screen, and that's by going to the setup gear here. If you do not have system admin permissions, you might not be able to navigate here. This will depend on your permissions. We're going to go to the object manager for the project. And then go ahead and go to the field set. And any fields that we need to add onto the page, we're going to go ahead and add into the field set here. So if you have any custom fields that you carry over from your projects. All right, so let's go ahead and move on, excuse me, to the milestone record. So I'm going to go ahead and clone this design milestone on this Aprika project. And this will be similar to navigating to a project record. You're just gonna click the clone action button here. I'm gonna rename this testing. This is on the same project, so I'm gonna keep it on the Aprika website build project, which had the time and materials billing type. So I won't have to specify an invoice amount or invoice on completion. It's already adjusted from when we cloned the project. So the date is up to date, and we want to clone the checklist items and contributors as well. We have our actions here. Nothing here needs to be changed. So we're going to go ahead and clone the milestone. Okay. So as you can see, that pulled over all the hours information, the milestone, the scheduled values and things like that for forecasting and reporting. All right. So before we move on, excuse me, to the action clone, I will show you the field set for updating the milestone field set. So again, I would use the same steps that I did for the project to navigate to the object manager, the milestone object, and the field set, excuse me, and then all my fields that I want to add would be here. All right, so now we're going to go into checking out the Milestone Loader. And for the milestone loader, I'll want to create a new project. You can load milestones on an existing project that already has records on it, but just in this case, we're going to create a new project. Okay, and just like before, we're going to set up the we're going to set up a new project. This one I would like to be a time and materials project as well. You want to make sure you have your hours per day established. So this is how many hours will be worked, or is standard to be worked in one day for your company. This will help with once you're assigning resources and things like that, making sure they're within capacity here. You do have the option to use role or skill-based rates, but we're going to go ahead and keep it at a standard rate and just define the rate values here. Overtime will be allowed here on this project, and it's going to be at a 1.5 ratio. Because this is a time and materials project, we do want approval from both the project owner, which would be myself, and then the role manager. So whoever is assigned as a manager on the user's role record that is entering time, they would need approval before their time log records are approved. Okay, we're going to do a periodic billing cycle. And on here, I'm going to actually do the 1st and the 16th. And we'll have a 30-day payment term with the client. We're also going to establish that the next billing date will be November 1st for this project. And then on the invoices, we do want to include the time log appendix as well as the expenses. We will not need to include non-billable time on the appendix. All right. So we have our project set up complete. We're going to save and navigate to the new project, and then we're going to load over using this load button, which can be found on the overview tab here, to load some milestones over. So we want that design, build, and deliver, and the start date. Let's start it on this Friday. We do want the actions and the clone to clone the checklist and the contributors. And then we don't have a pretty large project to clone or load over. So we don't need to run this asynchronously. Uh-oh. Oh, so because the dates on these actions here that are on these milestones have some dependencies in there set for a date after October 1st. Let's see if I move the project forward according to the actions and things set up on those milestones. It should generate correctly. All right, so as you can see, those milestones are loaded in with the actions. There are no checklist items. But here are all the setup from the previous project that we've done. All right, lastly, we're gonna navigate to an action and use the clone button from here. And then go ahead and get into cloning this action. So I'm just going to scroll down. There aren't any checklist items. There aren't any contributors. You can add that information if you would like. But there's no need to have this checked because there aren't any for this action. I'm going to rename the action. Keep the action owner. Keep the milestone that it's already existing on, and then notify the action owner that this new action has been created. We don't need an event to be created from this action. Then we have all our required information. So we're going to go ahead and clone that. And there you go. When we navigate to this project, under the design milestone, we now have our cloned action here. And then lastly, I just want to show you that for the action field set, there's fields that are already on the action field set. You can add other fields that are within mission control or custom fields as well. All right. All right, so now that we're done with the demo, is there any existing questions that anybody has? I know we answered a few during the demo, but if you also have any questions in regards to something outside of this demonstration, then I can I can try to help you with that as well. And then again, questions can be entered in the chat box or the Q&A box. You're very welcome, Joshua. Thank you for joining in today. And again, if anybody has any suggestions on future Campfire sessions, please feel free to enter them in the chat. I will, I'm always considering just questions and concerns that we have from clients and prospects and just those looking to get more information on mission control as well. So I'd be more than happy to consider any other like setup things that you would like to see done. Next week we will be, or I'm sorry, next month we will be covering how to set up project financials on your project. And just how to determine which billing type and billing cycle that you need on your projects and things like that. So that will be coming soon. Awesome. So I have a comment from Roger. Awesome. Thank you. A Campfire touching on agile components would be great. Okay, I can definitely get that marked down. And we do have some knowledge materials that will be available soon on creating managed service projects as well as agile projects, how to do that within mission control. So that could be an idea for a future Campfire as well. Awesome. Thank you everyone for the feedback. Thank you, Stefan. I really appreciate that. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna stay online for one more minute, but if we don't have any further questions, then I'll go ahead and wrap up this session, and we will be back together in a month for the next Campfire. All right, we've just hit 10:30 or 11:30. And I will go ahead and wrap up the call. Again, if you need any further information, please feel free to reach out to me from the support request. You can go there on, online on our site and submit a ticket or email us. We have a few resource materials here. And then if anybody has any further questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you for joining. Have a great day, everyone.